Arnold Schwarzenegger, Colin Farrell. What? Total Recall. So Total Recall is of course a remake of the 1990 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this time around we get Colin Farrell. Our story takes place in what seems to be a kind of a post-apocalyptic world where basically everyone has pretty much moved to space besides a select group of people, and Australia and Great Britain are really the only places that are safe to live now on Earth. Colin Farrell is kind of a average factory worker. His life isn't bad or anything, but he kind of feels like there's more to his life, like he could do something more, something out there in this world for him. And that's where this place called Recall comes in. And basically, if you go to Recall, they give you memories that you really didn't have, but now they can like implant these memories in your mind. Like, I can remember I was married to Emma Stone, or that I was like a secret agent or professional football player, or something along those lines. So Colin Farrell's character goes to Recall and he has these memories implanted in him that he's a secret agent, but something goes terribly wrong and all these people try to start shooting him, but then he has all these like magical powers, like he can like beat people up, kind of like the Bourne effect. So yeah, that's our story. So how was Total Recall? It was alright. The performances in this movie, Colin Farrell, I like him. He's a likable guy. He's a good actor. Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel, whew, they're all right in the movie. I mean, not great. The dude from Breaking Bad, I don't remember his Bryan Cranston. Is that it? That dude, he was pretty good, even though he had absolutely nothing to do in the movie. The script in this movie is pretty bad. I mean, I noticed there's some really bad dialogue. They sound like teenage kids when they're talking, which I don't like at all. The dialogue didn't sound believable to me, which is definitely a big problem. Now, the main reason I wanted to go to see this movie is because we're bored, Saturday afternoon, it's raining outside, got nothing really to do. Go see this movie, hoping for a good time. And, I got that kind of. The special effects in this movie are very good. I really love the world that director Lynn Wiseman set up with this movie. It's a really grand and really epic and very nice looking futuristic world. A lot of the special effects are just very well done. They're not average. They're pretty darn good special effects, which is very impressive. The action sequences are very well done and they're highly entertaining. I will warn you, if you have sensitive eyes, kind of like I do, at the beginning of this movie they had this one action sequence where they have these flashing lights, and I hate watching those kind of sequences. I had to actually close my eyes because I was afraid I was going to have a seizure or something, because that action sequence is just impossible to watch. I hate it when flashing lights come up on screen. That was a terrible sequence. The main problem with this movie just makes no freaking sense. Like, the plot makes no sense at all. Like, some of my friends, remember back in 2010, were telling me they didn't like Inception because the plot was too hard to follow. I'm one of the people who praises Inception. When I went to go see Inception, I sat down and I was like, I am going to watch this movie very seriously. I'm going to follow the plot. I'm going to try to understand as much as I can. This movie, it's not like Inception, you have to think about it. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, literally, the directors, the producers, and scriptwriters didn't know what they were doing. They were making it, like, ridiculously confusing, and it's not confusing in a good way. It's confusing in a really, really bad way. That it's just convoluted and ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. The movie also feels really long. The pacing is kind of wacky, and once you get the action started, it starts going really well, but then you'll just slow down randomly in these scenes where they're all talking and the dialogue's not very good, and I didn't really feel tension in these scenes. It just wasn't very well done. Like I mentioned earlier, this movie actually seems to take a lot from other movies. Now, I know this is a remake. I haven't seen the original Total Recall, so I don't really know if it's very similar or not, but like, there's some scenes in this movie that seem like they were taken right off Inception, and especially the Bourne movies. There's this one scene in particular where Colin Farrell goes to a bank. If you see the movie, you know what I am talking about. That looked like it was taken just out of Bourne Identity. Another thing is that this movie doesn't need to be rated PG-13. They should have just gone a little bit more crazy and rated it R, because they get away with a ton. There's lots of swearing, and there's actually even partial nudity in this movie. And, like, why did they make it PG-13? I feel like the fans of the original one would probably want an R-rated movie. I mean, they could have easily done it, have more action and gore and, stuff. It just didn't seem necessary for it to be PG-13. They probably just made it PG-13 so they could get more money, but it's not even making that much money in the first place, so yeah. And Total Recall is just kind of a bland, awfully paced action movie, but it is fun at some points with some decent acting, but pretty awful script. If you haven't seen Born Legacy or Dark Knight Rises yet, just go check those out. Wait for this movie when it comes into DVD, unless you're a huge fan of the original one. I'd skip it. I'm going to give Total Recall a 5 out of 10, and I'll see you guys with more movie reviews soon. Bye.